I'm mcanale.
This is just an image of the interface to give
This
you
is my
an idea
final
of what it
project
is.
for HCI 510. I did a heuristic evaluation. So Sony's PlayStation 4 is a gaming console system. It's designed for television screens and has 8 gigabytes of high performance memory. It's accessed by a wireless controller, and a couple of the main features: it allows for connectivity between friends like never before, and not only just friends but with other users of the system. And also it tailors the gaming system to the user's preferences, meaning it knows their likes and dislikes and then displays new content to them that they might be interested in, like different games, movies, TV shows, etc. The gaming system is $399. So Sony's PlayStation 4 is designed for ages 14 to 30, generally like early teens to early 30s, and both male and female. There is a huge diversity in the gaming console itself, meaning there's numerous different apps you can download for many different reasons and different games to buy in play. So it's not just limited to gamers, it's not just limited to men or women, it's everyone. Ages 14 to 30, and generally middle to upper class. This is because the gaming console system is $400, and that's not including any additional games or
for the
PlayStation 4. These are both positive personas, meaning they're people that would probably use this gaming system and who it's designed for. So Steven, he's 22 and lives in Oswego, New York. He's a college student, getting a degree in computer science with a minor in business management. He's very articulate with and familiar with technology. He grew up with gaming consoles. In his spare time, he coaches lacrosse to kids, and he enjoys playing video games, watching TV and movies, and browsing the internet. Marissa, the other persona, she's 23 and graduated from SUNY Brockport with a degree in business administration. She lives in Oswego, New York, and is a restaurant manager currently. She also grew up with gaming consoles. She's very familiar with technology, and in her spare time, she enjoys biking, watching TV, and movies. This project, I did a heuristic evaluation and a cognitive walkthrough on the PlayStation 4. I'm going to go in depth with both of these more in the following slides. First, I'm going to start with the heuristic evaluation. I based the evaluation off of Jacob Nielsen's 10 usability heuristics, and I rated the gaming system on a 1 to 5 scale for each heuristic, meaning 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. This means that the system wants to have a 5 in every single category to ensure their usability is correct and good. So, the first one, visibility of a system status. This means keeping the users informed about what's going on and providing appropriate feedback. So, this sort of 4, feedback is provided when the users shift from different categories. Other options are dimmed when other actions are hovered over. So, this also informs the user when something is loading. Here's an example of this. You can see here the trophies icon is clearly the one that's being hovered over or clicked on. It pops out and is also glowing, and while the other ones are dimmed in the background, and this helps the user understand and know that they are on this section, trophies. In the real world, this scored a 3 on that. Apps have familiar options like start, recent activities, and etc., and the app categories are labeled for ease, like TV, movie, game, they're clearly labeled, but some icons are unfamiliar to a new game player. Here's an example. So these icons right here, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I don't really know what any of them mean. I'm not familiar with the PS4, but I am familiar with gaming systems, and I'm not sure what any of those mean, except for the power button. So I'm going to explain this more in the recommendations section after I go through this in the cognitive walkthrough. These two, user control and freedom and consistency and standards, both scored a 5 for the PlayStation 4. For user control and freedom, the interface displays text and corresponding buttons on each page that say back and enter, which allow the user to easily find their way back to previous screens, and the user can freely move through the interface without having to go back to the main page. Consistency and standards. Buttons are consistent in their corresponding actions across the interface. The words have the same meanings across the interface and the same meanings as other gaming console systems. This also scored a 5. This was great on the console, I noticed. So when a button is clicked to end a game, a movie, etc., or to shift to a new application, a dialog box appears that makes sure the users want to end their. Here's an example. So the following application will be suspended. Do you want to continue? You either hit yes or no, and it doesn't automatically shut down. The sixth heuristic, recognition rather than recall, this scored a 4. Users do not have to remember all the button controls on the controller, and actions have text in the corresponding button next to one another. Here's an example. So you see here, it says enter and back, and it shows you which corresponding button you click on the controller to hit enter or go back, and the user doesn't have to remember that. It's on every page in the interface. Flexibility and efficiency of use. Accelerators are available for an expert user, and again, shortcuts are available for experienced users, and they can easily go back and forth between apps and games. Design. This scored a 4 in this category. Design and text in the interface is minimal. The background makes it easy to read applications and other information. The text is easy to read. Music's not distracting. Background music's not distracting. But when certain apps are clicked, the background changes can be hard to read, and the text in the settings panel is somewhat wordy. This just shows an example of how minimal the design is. There's a blue background and white text. It's easy to read TV and video. It's not confusing or doesn't blend in. They're not competing for attention. Help with errors and provide help if needed. Help with errors, this scored a 5. When an error occurs, a dialog box pops up that informs the user what went wrong and how to get back to their previous state. So if the gaming system, say, like, shuts off for no reason, when they turn it back on, it'll say, like, what happened. Provide help if needed. This was one that didn't score that well. I did not notice a help icon on the main page of the interface or on any other screen. It required 3 or 4 clicks to get to help, so this again is going to be described more in the recommendation section. Cognitive walkthrough. I'm just going to go through each task and then talk about the 4 questions that correspond with the cognitive walkthrough. So task 1, you just received a PlayStation 4 for your birthday and want to update your profile information so you can begin to chat with your friends through the device. And then there's the 4 subtasks, turn on the console, create a new user, etc. So this action would be performed for each new user on the console, and it's something that every user has to do at least once. The control for creating the task is visible on the main page of the interface. And the action is clearly labeled as new user and profile, so the users know that what they have chosen is the correct setting. And on top of this, there are headers on each page that tell the user what setting they're on. And the user will know the task is completed because their name and image will be changed instantly on the console. A new season of House of Cards was just released on Netflix. You and your friends have been waiting months for the new season to be released, so you invite them over to watch the show from your PlayStation 4 console. And again, the 3 subtasks. So this is an application that would be performed often for each user, even if they are not accessing Netflix. Other applications in the TV and movie category offer the exact same options and require the same controls. The control for creating the task is visible, and it's clearly labeled as Netflix, and the user will be able to identify the Netflix icon and name. They will know when they're on the Netflix app because it'll be have a glowing border, so they know that that's what they're clicking on. And they'll know the task is complete because, of course, the show will begin playing. Here's a summary of the cognitive walkthrough. So for one, the first 3 subtasks were all completed with ease, but the final task of changing the profile image proved to be difficult. They weren't sure how to change the profile picture. Task 2, all the tasks for this action were completed with ease. The PS4 interface recommended House of Cards actually when the user hovered over Netflix, so they didn't even have to go into the actual application, they just could click it right there. So, help icon on the main screen. Again, this is important to have users need help with stuff so they don't have to refer back to the manual. This should be one of the main features that should be implemented, and again, these recommendations are in order of importance. Profile page settings should be adjusted. Clearly identify more options for adding images and information to the profile. It's, like I mentioned before, the edit username is clearly identifiable, but to create an avatar or upload an image or connect to Facebook, you can't do that on the profile page, which is inconsistent, and that should be adjusted. It could be simply just adding a longer menu underneath the icon right there. So use text under some icons. Like I mentioned before, I'm not sure what each of these icons mean, especially novice users, so just adding text under each icon and have it there the whole time versus just when it's hovered over or clicked on would help users understand what each icon meant. Not overlapping. This is last in recommendations because it doesn't happen with every application, just a few. Like you can see here, the game screen or the game image is kind of interfering with the background, so just maybe adding some more borders around each image or text would help make them stand out more than the background. And that's it.